Our Ecores finally fixed in Star Citizen. This has been a long journey. I first tested out the Intel 12700KF in November 2021, and we found out that SC just performed much better with the Ecores off. It was worse in Windows 10 compared to 11, but frame times were all over the place. Around a year later, in 2022, we had a look at the 13700KF, and that had the same issues with Ecores. Performance was just much better when you turned them off. And in April last year, I took another look in 318 to see if anything had changed, but unfortunately it had not. It has been quite hard to tell whether this was a Star Citizen problem, a Windows scheduling problem, or just an Intel problem. We've seen that CIG have looked into the issue in the past. There's been loads of updates to Windows since this first all started happening, and Intel, in theory, actually just fixed the problem with APO, but decided to only enable that for 14th gen chips. But as I was doing some testing to prepare for the AMD 9000 series launch, I found that, at least in my case, things seem to be finally sorted. I'm on all the latest drivers, BIOS is up to date, and like we said, Windows has seen countless updates, so it's pretty much impossible to actually know what has changed. But if you're running 12th or 13th gen chips with Ecores, I would love to know in the comments if everything is now working fine for you. And I suppose also 14th gen, it would be good to hear if it has all been fine with APO all along. And while we're talking about Intel, we should probably acknowledge the big issue that's going on at the moment with chips just failing. So the higher end parts, there seems to be big problems, massive failure rates, YouTube videos all over the place, Gamers Nexus doing deep dives into this stuff. There are big problems, and so again, if you've got maybe a higher end 13th or 14th gen chip, I would love to hear if you've had any issues with that. I mean, I've got this 13700K, but it's not been doing anything for months and months and months on end. It's just been sitting there not on at all, so it wouldn't really be a kind of candidate for having these issues that have been reported. So I haven't seen any issues whatsoever, but I guess the top tips are: make sure you're up to date with all your BIOS stuff. Intel have been doing some stuff in the BIOS to try and mitigate the problems, but ultimately I think a lot of these are going to end up having to be RMA'd. Intel hasn't necessarily been the best choice for a Star Citizen build for a while now. The 7800 HDD kind of outperforms everything in stock, and obviously you've got the upgrade path with AMD that we always talk about on this channel that will allow us to very soon just drop in these 9000 series CPUs and then the 9000 series X3D CPUs. So if you're buying a new system, I think with everything going on, you probably want to stay well clear of the Intel high-end chips. I'm sure this will not be an issue going into the next generation stuff that's coming out from them, and I will definitely be testing that out. I would think that they will be competitive at least with AMD's latest and greatest at the point they come out, but yeah, again, let me know how the Ecore situation is going, and I'd love to know if anybody's actually had a failure with one of these high-end chips from Intel.